Hey guys, here talking about Chicago Fire this time around. Last video of the day, we pushed through a bunch. I'm pretty happy about that. But I've been using information from goal.com. They put out a bunch of season previews for a bunch of teams, and so far this is the last one they have up. So we're going to have to maybe take a pause. Hopefully they put some more up later in the week so I can kind of talk to you about what they're thinking and my thoughts on teams. I mean, if they don't get any more up, maybe I can come up with some by myself. Maybe MLS.com will put some out. I'm sure they will. But for now, this will be it. So sad. All right, we're going to talk about Chicago Fire right away. We're going to talk about the goalie situation. Sean Johnson. Good guy, like him a lot. He's seeing a lot of time with national duty call-ups. His points were pretty down last year. He was gone a lot, hurt some. Can't remember who their backup was for last year, but he's not with them anymore. And they just recently signed Matt Lampson. So more than likely, Johnson is going to start the season. $5.5 million, but I'm going to throw out some caution flags here. They just signed this new goalie. I heard he's pretty good. Been reading a couple things like, will he start? Will he knock Sean Johnson off? I don't know. I would say if there's any ounce of doubt, just avoid the situation. There's tons of other teams you can choose from, tons of other goalies, and Chicago has constantly been changing their defense. I believe they have a new coach this year, so I think it would just be wise to not have him. It pains me to say that because I like him as a goalie a lot. Anyway, he's $5.5 million. There's all the goalies range from 5 to 6. It's $1 million difference. So there's tons of other options out there. There's actually cheaper guys that I would feel more comfortable starting the season with than Sean Johnson. So take that as you will. I like the guy, but I wouldn't start him yet. So moving on up to the center defenders. On the top of their list from last year's points, they have Gehrig, who is, I think last year was his first year with the team. And before that, he was playing with Columbus and didn't see a whole lot of time in Columbus. Saw a decent amount last year with Chicago, but new coach, new changes. Don't pick up Gehrig. I don't believe he's going to be the starter in either of the center back positions this year. He's a good backup, but I don't think he's going to be the guy. So we'll go to what this list has. Goal.com. I say this in every video. I can't guarantee my information is 100% correct. I wish I could guarantee you that, but I can't because we're still a week out, and you know things change. Coaches may change their decision last minute, and preseason doesn't always show you what you want to see. Sometimes they're playing lots of different players than they normally would just to see how they do. Doesn't mean they have a solid starting spots. So, having said that, we'll list off the two names that they have here. We have Mira, Mira. Cool name, $7.5 million. And guess what? He didn't play last year. I know one of their center backs is actually, no, neither of these guys are rookies. It's the guy on the outside that's a rookie. We're getting a whole new look at Chicago's defense. It's going to be different completely. So Mira is 7.5. The other guy they have listed on this website is Kappelhoff. Sure, that sounded right. Johan Kappelhoff. Why'd they have to pick guys with such hard names to pronounce? Also $7.5 million. Also didn't play in the MLS last year. Lots of question marks. It's tough to recommend either of these guys. If you know about them and you followed them in their previous leagues, by all means, go for it. But I'm not going to recommend either of them just because I don't know anything about them. And for $7.5 million, it's just too much for something you don't know. On the right side, normally I go left side first, but this one I'm going on the right side, is Rodrigo Ramos. Didn't play with the MLS last year. Imagine that. Can't say much about him. He's $6 million, a little cheaper. It's actually pretty cheap for a defender. But again, he's on the outside. Probably won't see as many bonuses. Um, Lower scores on average probably than your center backs. So be cautious there. Good price. But if we go out onto the left side, a lot of people have talked about this guy. You may have heard his name is Brandon Vincent. $5 million. He's a rookie, got drafted this year. It was Chicago's first pick. Um, I think Philly passed up on him, and I know they got some crap for that, but Chicago picked him up, and it sounds like he is going to be starting the season. He's one rookie that we're pretty sure is going to be starting. So $5 million. Now, I know I say over and over again that I don't like outside defenders, but I have him on my team. He is sitting my bench, and it's good to have maybe one or two cheap guys that you know are going to play, just in case something happens during the week unexpectedly and you have to have a sub. He's mine. He's one of them anyway. So I do recommend him. He was picked that early in the draft for a reason, and obviously the coach thinks he's very capable at the position. So recommending him with a cautious say. I don't know if you want to put him in your starting lineup right away. If you get him, stash him on your bench, see how he does. Hopefully his price doesn't go down. I know Chicago has a lot of question marks as to how their defense is going to be. Hopefully they get some shutouts and his price goes up a little bit. If you want to sell him, then cool. If you want to start him, that's okay too. I hope they do well. Moving on to the midfield, we have Pollster, which I think he played some defense last year. He was one of those guys that was incredibly cheap last year, and he's still pretty cheap this year. $5.5 million for a defensive mid. That's about as low as you get. I know he's a good player. I know he's still young, still learning a lot, but still $5.5 million. That's a pretty good option. This is kind of like looking at Colorado's team. There's a lot of bargains. This is like the bargain bin. Guys that are cheap that will start but might still not get a ton of points. So you have to be cautious. But as far as defensive midfielders go, he's definitely one of the cheaper ones out there. Beside him, or maybe close to him, is a guy with a crazy name, Razvan Koches. $6.5 million. He was with the team last year. Scored 85 points. That's not bad. So yeah, between these two guys, if they both end up being starters, I would say Pollster just because he's cheaper. Again, maybe a guy you want to put on your bench as a backup just in case something happens. But honestly, you probably don't want either of these guys, in all honesty, because price changes for defensive midfielders don't go up and down as often as attacking-minded guys. So he's probably not going to gain you much money, neither of these guys. Just throwing that out there, just my thoughts on the matter. I could be wrong. You know that. I can't predict the future. I wish I could. That would be amazing. I'd probably have won the lottery by now. Anyway, moving on, going up the field a little bit. They have in their attacking mid-role the guy that on the list is listed as Goossens, but now I'm going to have to click on every single name to find this guy because I don't see him on my list. Can't give you any help. And it would be good for my knowledge too, just to know who he is and what he does, because I have no clue. We're going to go out to a guy that everybody's incredibly excited about, a guy named Akam. He did great last year, scored 123 points. This year he's $9 million, which is definitely more than he was last year. But it seems as though he is going to be a starter for the entire season. I think he's not a bad option. A lot of people are incredibly excited about him, especially at the beginning of the season. Hi, puppy dog. Want to say hi? She's just so sleepy. Hi, puppy. We're getting close up. Close up. Woo! Hi. She's so cute, isn't she? She's like the star of the show. Every time she comes on, everybody's like, "Oh, there's such a cute dog." Oh, you're tired. So Akam, he's not on my team, and maybe some other people think that's crazy, but he is a good option. If he's on your team, that's perfectly fine, and he will probably have a really good season. He's kind of going to have to be the star of Chicago this year. especially with Ship out. Um, then I just need to mention name Colin Fernandez as a guy that a lot of people are saying might have to take Ship's spot. Ship's left so suddenly, and maybe this new guy that's on this list is somebody that doesn't actually belong to the Chicago Fire yet. Maybe somebody that they're hoping to pick up before the season starts. But Fernandez is a guy that very well could be starting at $4.5 million. That's almost as cheap as a midfielder as you can get. If you have the 0.5 to spend, go for it. Put him on your bench. If he doesn't start, it's not hurting your team all that much because you only spent 0.5 on him. Obviously, most people have a junk midfielder somewhere on their team for $4 million. What's an extra 0.5 for a guy that could have a chance at being one of those bargain guys? So just had to mention that name. Anyway, so on the forward side of things, we have Igumbongi. Ikumbang. Oh my gosh, that name is too hard. Ikbon Nike. We're gonna call him Nike. I'm so bad at names. Sorry guys. Don't hate me. I feel like it's okay. I need to stop. I'm embarrassing myself. $8 million. He'll get up in the attack a lot. Probably play most games. And then not much to say about him. I wouldn't recommend him necessarily. But then they have another guy named Gilberto Oliveira Sozo Jr. If it's the Gilberto I'm thinking of, it was for Toronto a couple years ago. He's good when he's in. I don't think he played a ton last year, injuries, stuff like that. But he needs to be doing well because I do believe he's gets paid a pretty decent amount. So hopefully he can get up there. He's $9 million. I don't think it's worth it. I would recommend a com over him for sure. And obviously that's a forward and a midfielder, different positions. Puppy's gonna fall. All right, you're down. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I would avoid him at most costs. So we're gonna try to do a top 3, but honestly, it's kind of tough. I think most of my guys I recommend here are going to be because they're cheap, and you might want to put them on your bench. Akam, for sure, I'm recommending him to a lot of people just because he's a solid dude. He proved it last year. He's proven. And they're going to have to lean on him. Puppy just peed on the floor because I'm making a video. Oh, my bad. Akam, good option. They need him to do better. Ship's gone. Their offense is going to be struggling, I think, in a few ways just without Ship there. So Akam, number 1. I think second, I'm going with Vincent. It's because he's incredibly cheap. Guy you can have no problem sitting on your bench and just keeping him there for a while when you need him. If there's bye weeks that come up or double games, throw him in there. Have a shot at something. And then after that, it gets a little tough. I would probably say Pollster, just because I know the name from last year. I don't think I had him on my team, but I know a few people that did, and he did pretty decent. He'll be a solid, probably 4, 5, 6 point guy a game. So there you have it. That is the Chicago Fire. Not a whole lot of excitement from me. I could be completely wrong. Every one of these players might be like top 10 in points at their position next year. I don't know. Can't predict the future, like I said. So that is Chicago. I hope this helped you a little bit. Good luck with your fantasy teams this year. I can't wait. One more week to go till we finalize our teams and get the season started. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.